Okay, so it is July 3rd of 2023. We're going to do a follow-up with this troll that comes in with their sarcastic little remarks here. But before we do that, we're going to talk about this situation. This is garbage. Anyway, I just brought this up upstairs, right? Because we know I've got to recan peaches and those kind of things, right? So before I go off and buy more jars, I want to there's some things I need to do. So anyway, I brought these up from upstairs now. Where I had them, they're actually quite cool and I like them. But my son wants a little more space, so I'm picking away at it. Okay? And I noticed that now I did vacuum seal these, but over time, obviously 2 jars pop. Not a big deal now. Honestly, I can't see what that is. I'm assuming that it's wheat. I'm assuming. I don't know. I have to open them up and see. But as I'm clearing out my kitchen, now you have to remember, people, the porch is crap. It leaks, just the whole 9 yards. So it's not like I have a spillover space in terms of this miscellaneous, this kind of stuff. Right? Just whatever. I'm just saying. Okay? You know, most time people have a porch where you can put things and pick away at it. Things come in, and, you know, instead of throwing it outside in the garage so it can get all wet and mildewy and whatever, you know, you have covered, I guess they're called covered porches. Well, I don't have a covered porch. It's not so bad a little bit in the summertime and around this time of year because it's not pouring rain. Otherwise, if it's raining, oh my God, everything just gets ruined. Go into my videos. Ever since I moved into this house, that's all that's ever happened. Year after year after year after year after fucking year after fucking year is my shits get ruined. Okay. I deal with it. So in the meantime, you know, I don't know what hoops I'm going to have to jump here with this social worker in terms of the path. Especially if I'm bringing up more stuff from downstairs. But you see, I need those jars. Because now I got jars over there that I can pull out and wash and whatever. But like I said, my son wants a little extra space, so I'm pulling out other jars from that I did with food prep. Oh, God, I don't even know. Probably in 2020. Probably. And, but I got Mylar bags now, so I'm just going to open them up. Or maybe I'll put them in I got a white bucket over here that I can empty out, and I could take probably most of that and fill up the 2-gallon bucket, right? I'm assuming that's wheat, I think. And now I've got these jars here, 6 of these right here, that I'm going to put some pepper in them. And I got comfrey over there that's ready to be jarred up. I've got some oregano over there that's ready to be jarred up. And then I'm going to wash those jars. And of course those jars are going to be in the kitchen taking up space, right? Because, you know, I got my laundry here, right? So, you know, it is what it is. Takes up space. Right? Still doing miscellaneous whatever. Still rearranging, I guess you could say, with the jars. Right? Because I want to do those peaches and some of that other fruit that I bought. So I'll probably end up at some point over the next month or two taking, I don't know, 4 to 5 cases of jarred up food that I already have in jars like this that came from downstairs and putting them into Mylar bags and then into buckets or whatever, and then using those jars to can up some of this fruit to get them out of cans so that they last longer without it eating through the can or the food becoming tinny tasting. Because if you have peaches in a jar, I have peaches in a jar from 2015 that are still delicious. I'm just saying. And because it's in a jar, it's not picking up the tin taste. The tin isn't reacting with the fruit. So pineapple, I have canned pineapple that I bought from Amazon with a lot of dented cans, and or with those pull tabs. I eventually I'm gonna, so that's right. So, what I'm trying to say is there's always going to be some kind of issue in this house, and you know what, people, like, seriously, it's just set up to fail in terms of if this place is too small, and with the corruption in the housing market, right? Because everybody's on a money grab, and the only way they can grab the money is through the housing market, whether they're tearing down houses and building these, stack and pack boxes that will be the next generation of slums within 30 years. And trust me, the bugs will move in within the first 5 years. We're talking cockroaches, bed bugs, mice, just the whole 9 yards. Not to mention these plastic pipes that are going to start busting, and just because they use plastic pipes now, right? With fucking little clips, as if that's going to hold up for 30 years. Hold on a minute. I go downstairs and it's really cool. I come upstairs and it's fucking baking. That's why I'm getting an air conditioner. Yeah. A fan isn't enough. I went and I spent like $250 on this little air purifier, thinking that might work. That didn't work. Oh my lord. I'm breaking out in a fucking hot sweat here. Oh, hold on a minute. I don't got all day. So anyway, just for the record, my eyes got worse, people. Whatever this doctor did, I could... Honestly, he ruined my eyes. He's ruining my eyes. Between the eye drops, fucking 2 bottles of this and 2 bottles of that, and switching bottles around, and then he wants to do that fucking router thing, right? Change the cataract. He should never have changed the cataract, people. Nope. He should have known better. Seriously. For someone like me in my situation, like for somebody that has normal peripheral vision and has all their octave nerves, okay, maybe it would have worked in terms of changing the cataract, but I could see better when I had my original cataract. Like, seriously, since he's changed this and put this new lens in, and don't forget, I paid for the next one. Okay, the first one was provided for by the government, but it had a propensity to get all these little yellow fucking white spots all over it, right? It would deteriorate over time. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want that to happen. As if I want a bunch of fucking yellow spots in front of my eyes, or whatever, right? And then the next one up was pay, I'm pretty sure it was like $500. It was $125 for the hospital I had to pay. And then it was either $375 to the doctor, or it was $325 to the doctor. Either or, it was $500 or more for this cataract lens. And the doctor told me, oh my God, it's so hot up here. Hold on a minute. Okay, I got a little water here. So I either paid $500 for this lens, $325 to the doctor, no, $375 to the doctor, and $125 to the hospital. Or I paid $450. It was either $325 to the doctor and $125 to the hospital. or I paid $550. It was $375 to the doctor and $125. Either or, it was between $450 and $550 that I paid for this lens. I wanted the better lens, but everybody, like the person who measured my eyeball, said, no, 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 no. And that one probably would have been the better lens for me, people, considering with the lack of octave nerves. Okay? Because when they replaced the cataract, they ruined my eyes. Literally, I'm telling you, they ruined my eyes. Not only did they make the glare worse, right? Because, you know, this is a man-made lens that reflects light to whatever. Like, when I was at the hospital with Amari, and they were walking me from the emergency room up to the pediatric ward, and we were going, you know, through the halls for 10 minutes to get from one location to the next, well, 8 minutes to get from one location to the next location. And I was going through the halls with these LED lights, and then we went through here and went through there, and I was getting the backdraft of all these different LED lights. I'm telling you, people, not good for people's eyes. I told the staff, I said, you know, you guys need to gather together and fight the government on these LED lights, because sure, you're young right now, but you give it 20 years, there's going to be so many people that are, Andre, please turn it down. I'm talking. Andre!
I already did turn it down.
I did that on purpose. Stop it! I'm doing a video! We got the trolls watching, saying that I'm screaming at you! What do you got to say about that? Nothing. Mind your business, troll! Anyway. It's just, I just want to focus, okay? Okay. So, I told him, you guys need to band together as a union and fight the government on these LED lights. Trust me, I'm telling you, the light spectrums that you're forced to work under is going to destroy your eyes in large numbers over a period of years. They know it, but whatever. Okay, so because of, I think I have less than 13% now, people, I really do. But because I have 13% of octave nerves, that's what brings in the light and allows you to see color and define things. And, okay, 13% in this eye, 2% in this eye. Obviously, I see things differently than, say, someone with glaucoma that has basically the majority of their octave nerves, because it takes time for them to die off. It just doesn't happen in a short period of time, right? And they're still seeing with a, you know, with a large spectrum of their octave nerves. So they're seeing a large spectrum of light, right? And if they get their cataract changed, it probably wouldn't really make much of a difference outside of, and I've heard this from somebody else, and somebody posted a comment as well, that once they got the new cataract, I guess the kind, I don't know if it's the kind that they paid for, or the benefit for the one that I got by paying for it is it doesn't deteriorate where you start getting all those yellow spots all over it. Okay? I didn't want to go for another surgery to replace that if that happened. So that's why I paid for the one because it's specifically designed not to do that. Okay? Now, whether these people, my neighbor or whoever posted there on my, you know, video said that they got their cataracts changed. One lady on YouTube said she has glaucoma. She did both eyes with the cataract lens. And the only problem that she found after the fact was that she could see long distance better, but she has to run around now with reading glasses in order just to be able to do kind of stuff like this, okay? My neighbor basically said the same thing, but she doesn't have glaucoma, right? And she's in her 70s, so, you know, she had her cataracts changed, and she found that once the cataract was changed, she could see long distance better as well, But now she's too is having to run around the house to just do little things in the kitchen or whatever with dollar store glasses on, as well as for reading, right? Where for me, right, before they changed the cataract, I could see better basically without dollar store glasses doing things. Now keep in mind, everything's cloudy. Everybody, not everybody, but, the whites and the translucents and similar colors, they kind of tend to blend together. I mean, obviously, you've seen that through my videos when I'm filling up jars with honey and stuff, right? But, things were not blurry. What made things hard to see was the cloud, the fog, right? And then if an LED light is on, like this one, for example, because it's not a incandescent light bulb, or even a fluorescent light bulb for that matter, it's a different light spectrum, which is technically not good for your eyes, and it bounces off of things. Silvers, white, right? It bounces back at you. You don't notice it per se because your eyes are functioning well. And if you do notice it, you feel helpless to say anything or do anything about it. You just go about your business to get, if it bothers you, if you go into a store and you can clearly see they're using LED lights and, your eyes are having an issue. I mean, what can you do? You grab your shit and you leave and you try and avoid LED lights. But as our governments are phasing out incandescent light bulbs and fluorescent light bulbs and bringing in LED lights, more and more people are having less and less of a choice. And they really just don't realize what they're looking at until you get to be in my position. So, prior to the cataract surgery, I mean, clearly, LED lights, not good for me. And I had a heart on the eyes. But since I've had this thing changed, I don't even want to put a percentage on it in terms of how it got worse. With the light bouncing back at me and things blending in together because of the reflection. Because it's not a good light spectrum for you to be looking at. Okay? That's the first thing. So, what my doctor should have recommended, and I'm telling you this because if you ever find yourself in this fucking situation, take my advice. If your doctor ever comes to you and says, listen, we got to bring down your pressure in your eye because, it keeps sitting there at 26 and we want it between 10 and 16, right? And no drops, doesn't matter how many drops we give you, or how many times a day we give it to you, even though it's making you sick, right? The only way I think we can do that is if we do this fucking whatever it was that he did. But since you're there under surgery and you're practically blind now, we'll just change the cataract, but be aware that it's not going to make much of a difference. So if that was the case, he should have just left the original cataract. Because I do believe that if he would have left the original cataract, I'd be seeing better than I am right now. And I sure in hell wouldn't be getting this fucking reflection from a manufactured lens that, I don't know, people, it's not working. It's just not working. It's just not working. He made my eyes worse. And then to say that this pharmacy was switching up the fucking medicine, didn't make a difference, don't worry about it, just fucking forget that it happened. Well, you know what? That's easy for you to say. I'm almost starting to, I've been dealing with 2 eye specialists since I went and I filed the appeal at the Court of Appeals downtown on what was it, September 23rd. Then I went to the Royal Columbian Hospital, got a referral, and started seeing an eye specialist in October. And that's when the drops really started to kick in. Okay? And of course, at some point was getting really fucking dizzy there with them, and then they took one away thinking that would be fine, and it slowed down on the dizziness, and then he sent me to another eye specialist because this one, you know, does specialty surgeries with that thing going around the iris to help relieve the pressure, because the pressure isn't dropping into the quote-unquote teens, whether I'm using 2 drops, who knows how many times a day, or whether I'm using 1 drop, who knows how many times a day. So he forwarded me to a different eye specialist specifically for that eye specialist to come back and say, well, you need to do this. And I'm like, okay. And since we're doing that, we can change the cataract, but I'm letting you know now, it's not going to make much of a difference. Well, buddy boy, you were wrong. It made a huge difference. It made my eyesight worse. Definitely made my eyesight worse. I should have went with just the rotor and left my fucking original cataract in there, and I can tell you right now, I'd probably see better. It wouldn't be so blurry, and it sure in hell wouldn't be more reflective and everything going white. Okay? And what I'm finding with these dollar store glasses, you see me, I had a whole stack of them. They're not working for nothing, people. If you think I can grab a pair of dollar store glasses and see anything here, good luck. Good luck. No. It doesn't really work like that. Everything's still all blurry. Okay? Only time I ever really use dollar store glasses is when I'm on the computer, to which nothing works. And if it works one day where I can kind of see through maybe some kind of pair, I get up the next day, I'm thinking, oh, I'm okay, I can use this pair. Like yesterday, I could kind of see with this pair, do you see? I could kind of see okay on the computer. I managed to do that video or whatever day that was, yesterday or the day before. But I got up this morning trying to use this pair, same one. Fuck. Everything's all blurry, man. And it's glaring. And I'm like, well, this is great. So how long is it going to take before everything goes really white? Really white. And the more I come into contact with these LEDs, trust me, it's going to get worse. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, of course, I've got this one up here, right? Because, you know, that's basically all they sell these days, right? And when my fucking fluorescent lights burned out or whatever, I was sitting up in here in the dark for how many months? Weeks? What was it? 5, 6 fucking weeks? 7, going into 7 weeks. My landlady was out of town, and you know they didn't want to. Whoever was around wasn't fixing it, and finally I fucking got tired of being in the dark, people. So I called up an electrician, and he said that was the only thing that he could basically buy. I just wanted him to fix the ballot from the whatever. And I had to pay for that. And my landlady finally got back from India, told her about it, and she got mad at me. You know, okay, right? And I ended up paying $200 for that stupid thing. And she paid $150 or whatever the hell it was. So this is what I mean, like, as the government's phasing out incandescent light bulbs, or even fluorescent light bulbs, they're bringing in these LEDs. And for these young people, yeah, your eyes are okay right now. Give it 25 years, 30 years, and wait and see what happens to you. You're not out of the woods. If anything, you're going to have it worse. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of people are going to have real eye problems. But it's no big deal for these eye specialists because they're making mad money off this shit. Oh. That doctor should have told me, keep your original cataract, you know, if you need it changed, we can always do it later. Let's just focus with this because, you know, we're trying to save the eyesight. Oh, yeah, okay, you try to save the eyesight, but in essence, you basically fucking sabotage my eyesight. That's kind of how I feel about it, people. People say, oh, give it 6 weeks. Yeah, what, give it 6 weeks? No, it's going to be the same way, if not worse. If not worse. And I'm going to have to go and pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for different kinds of glasses just to be able to, one, read, because these, I can't read with this, any kind of dollar store glasses, unless it's a hit and fucking miss. I might go a whole week without seeing anything, and then one day I'll get up, put on a pair of glasses, dollar store glasses, and I might be able to read something thinking, oh, okay. Next day I get up, use the same fucking pair of glasses, and nothing fucking working. Yeah, okay. Same thing with the freaking computer. Like, you don't even know. As my eyes are, what? Deteriorating. For whatever reason. Because of being all this shit. I put these drops in, everything goes fucking cloudy. Yeah. Worse. With both these drops. I told you in my past videos, when they were giving me drops from back in the day with my older videos, this shit was making me sick. Well, it's still making me sick. Only it's not making me sick. It's fucking ruining my eyesight. That's what it's doing. So if you ever get to the point where, because you don't know, you could be sitting here watching this video thinking you're fucking safe. Well, the glaucoma wasn't diagnosed with me until I was in my 40s. Okay? So you might be, what, 28, 30 years old, 35, thinking you're good. And, you know, for your sake, I really hope you are. But once you get into your 40s, you know, that's when glaucoma really starts to show itself. Rear its ugly head, you know? And you've only got so much time before, because the best they can do is slow it down from progressing. Right? They can't stop it. Right? I suppose some of it depends on your lifestyle. Now, keep in mind, I worked in a fucking yard 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, fucking year after year after fucking year. Okay? Like a damn dog with mud, grit, sand, fucking algae, morning glory, histamines, all kinds of crazy crap with a fucking whip on my back, right, from different directions. And I did it for years and years and years and years and years and years, lifting up fucking heavy buckets of this and heavy buckets of that, fucking heavy buckets of fucking gravel and fucking dirt and all this other crap, right? Because, you know, I just had one big happy sand pit out in front and fucking weeds all over the fucking yard. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that played a role. But at the end of the day, what pushed it over the edge was when they came in with their COVID lockdowns and I couldn't get a referral. I couldn't get a referral from my family eye doctor because he told me to take him to court. And any other fucking doctor or clinic that I tried to phone to make an appointment so that I could get a referral to see an eye specialist wasn't phoning back, wasn't answering their phone, and was saying that they weren't taking new patients. As I'm holding down the fort, working like a mule, trying to keep my family together. Forgot about my fucking eyesight other than, well, here, I'll just try it again. Oh, okay, you're not taking patients. Okay, I'll try it again. You know, right? And then all it took was 2.5 years without eye drops at the tail end of fucking glaucoma to create this issue. That was it. 2.5 years without eye drops because I couldn't get a referral. Whose fault is that? Mine? I phoned multiple places. Even my landlords gave me numbers to phone, and I phoned and couldn't get a booking in with them. One doctor said no, right? We don't take patients. Another clinic, fucking, no, not taking patients. Same thing with a whole list of them. And what am I going to do? I'm going to keep looking after the kids. I'm going to keep doing yard work. I'm going to keep doing fucking prep work. I'm going to keep doing, I'm thinking in my head, well, I got this far without fucking eye drops. Completely forgot that if I didn't have eye drops that this could happen. Right? You know what I'm saying? Can't go to a clinic and just ask some random doctor to give me fucking a referral for an eye specialist because it has to come from your family doctor. But when COVID was around, ain't no doctors bringing in new patients. So I was set up for failure, people, basically. And then, of course, one day I come into contact with energy weapons. Either or, wake up one day, you don't even realize what happened to you until you go outside. You go outside, and then that's when you can tell that something happened. Because your eyes can't process the light. Okay? Because the things that see the light, the nerves, the octave nerves, they're not there anymore. They've been squished to death, stomped on, and completely destroyed. So anyway, it's a learning process. You learn that through experience. All right, I did what I was supposed to do in terms of looking after the kids. I made an attempt on several occasions to try and get a referral through a fucking eye doctor or through a clinic or wherever outside of going to emergency. Until finally eventually I had to. And now I'm with doctors that know I'm at the end of my game with this shit. And I feel like this is how I kind of feel about it. They know that whatever's going on with me, I'll never get my eyesight back. So because of that, you know, I'm kind of like up for grabs in terms of, well, we can try this drop and see how that works. And if that doesn't work, we can take out that drop and you can try that one for a while. And if that doesn't work, well, we can bring in these 2 drops and now you can try these drops for a while. And if that doesn't work, well, then you can keep this drop and then we'll shoot you up in this fucking eye with some laser surgery. And then if that doesn't work, we'll just, you know, hook you up with some more fucking different kind of eye drops. And then we'll hook you up for this kind of fucking surgery. And being that if we change the cataract, it's not going to make much of a difference. So we might as well do it anyway. But we won't tell you that it's going to change the way you see light because we wouldn't know that until we fucking change the cataract unless somebody complained about it. And then we're going to give you all these drops before surgery. And then when the patient comes back to the doctor and the doctor is looking at the damn bottles themselves with the stupid labels and realize that the labels are mixed up and that I was taking the fucking drops, a new set of fucking drops, backwards, wrong, before surgery. He didn't care, people. He didn't care. When I went for a follow-up and I said, you know, I want to know where it's in my file that he wrote down in my file that medication before surgery was backwards. Whoever was dealing with my eyes said they couldn't find it in my file. I said, well, it needs to be in my file. Because that's like, you know, you could kill somebody by giving them the wrong medication in the wrong dose, backwards, before surgery. Right? So if he noticed it for himself, oh, well, it must be in a different part of your file. He must have put it in a different folder. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. What? Is he covering up for the pharmacy? Is that it? Is that what happened, maybe? Huh? Or maybe I just don't count. Because I'm losing my eyesight anyway, and I'm just some fucking research study that, you know, try this, try that, try. Who cares if nothing works, and who cares if you're given these drops and these drops backwards right before surgery, because you're not going to get your eyesight back anyway, and if it gets worse, well, we can just blame it on you. You picked up a fucking box in your house and you came home and you did dishes when you were supposed to do nothing for 2 weeks. Okay. And then because of what happened with Amari, to which Tisha probably instigated that when she brought him fucking, I mean, it was enough that he was at her house for a week, people, under new circumstances and stressors and all this other shit. I didn't want to have it happen, but I was scared that he'd be a trigger for a seizure, right? But to bring him home, and not even 10 minutes after she puts him down on the couch, she starts screaming at the top of her fucking lungs, making all these stupid threats, to the point where Amari started screaming out, crying, because he was so frightened. So how do we know that didn't trigger the seizure? Because after she stormed out of here and fucking left, I went and picked him up and I had to console him. But, you know, it was so traumatizing, not only for him, but for me. I forgot about it. And then, of course, now I'm at the hospital being drilled by, I don't know what happened, as everybody's like I told you this, what happened? And then just whatever, as the social workers fucking lurking around in the fucking background, everybody's being all mum about it, dropping the word coke. Yeah, okay. In regards to ShaMay, as to what happened to Amari, yeah, okay. When they all know cerebral palsy for children like Amari produces freaking seizures. Hell, they had me hooked up with a neurologist before Amari even had seizures. And the neurologist couldn't believe that Amari wasn't having seizures because of the brain damage. Go figure. And then it was like that for a couple of years. Did he have a seizure? Has he had a seizure? No. Oh, why? He's supposed to have them. He has cerebral palsy. And then they fucking turn around and they switch it around, and you got the pediatric emergency fucking doctor dropping the word coke. Yeah, okay. No. You guys are covering up your fucking malpractice in terms of injuring baby at the time of birth because somehow Eleanor Gilding's got you all by the fucking balls because of what she did to Uncle John with the medical kidnapping, not to mention the illegal embalming of ShaMay's body. As if the word cocaine is gonna save your guys' fucking asses. Yeah, okay. But that's okay, because all we have to do is send in the eye doctor to fuck with your head, and, well, maybe with all these eye drops, like, right? I mean, it's bad enough but just kind of make everything more blinder, more white, more blurry. If you knew the fucking lenses were going to make my eyes blurry, and it sounds like this is common, because my neighbor said, I can see long distance better, but I can't see shit in front of me, and I have to walk around the house like with dollar store glasses just to fucking fill up a jar. Or read. Or wash dishes. Or whatever. Where I could fill up the jar, wash dishes, do whatever without fucking glasses. I seen better without glasses. Considering my situation. Now I can't see shit with or without glasses. And even if I go off and spend $400 on a pair of fucking glasses, who knows how long they're going to last for. Considering I sit in front of this computer, I find a pair of glasses that might work, and I'm like, yay, do what I gotta do, get up the next day, grab the same pair, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't see shit. And then I go from pair to pair to pair to pair to pair to pair, and I'm like, fuck it, just turn off your fucking computer, you can't see fucking shit. And then I take a chance that day or a day after. Well, this one is a different kind, but at least this one can work today. For now. As everything's getting whiter and brighter. And depending on what environment I am in with the type of lighting in terms of incandescent light bulbs or fluorescent light bulbs. Well, everybody that's in the hospital running around under these LED lights or wherever they are oblivious as to what's coming to them over a period of years and years and years and years and years and years and years of frying out the fucking eyes. They don't know what's coming. But I do. I go to the eye doctor, and that place is full of people with eye problems. So anyway, now that I got that off my chest, I'm going to be looking at spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on different kinds of glasses that I might be able to use for reading, that I might be able to use for the computer, and that I might be able to I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that if I was going to do the cataract, to which I did, I should have went with the better quality from the get-go. Or, better yet, I should have just left it alone and done that thing, and then maybe factor in the cataract lens, but have the best lens available versus settling for the middle of the line lens. Yeah. For other people, without having issues with their octave nerves, I suppose it makes sense. But for people that are losing their octave nerves, I'm warning you now. Don't go the middle road. You got to take the best road, which is the better lens. Because even if you go for the halfway mark, like I did, where you're not going to get all these little yellow spots in there, because it's an inferior lens, but it's free, right? You still need to go with the better lens, because if you have glaucoma, your octave nerves are still dying. It might take you another 5 to 10, 15 years, depending on your age, to notice it, even with using eye drops. You may be one of the lucky ones and get to old age and still be able to see if you're faithful to use the eye drops. But the eye drops don't stop the progression of the glaucoma. It can only slow it down. And I suppose it depends on your lifestyle and how fucking hard you work and what types of things you pick up and how you strain your eyes and all that other probably does play a role. But at the end, or just your body, whatever, you don't know, right? It's been around for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, glaucoma. This is nothing new. But they don't know how to repair octave nerves once they're dead. So if you're finding yourself with glaucoma and you're going for cataract surgery, I highly recommend that you get the lens that's the best. Pay for it by any means necessary, where you can see up in front of you and you can see long distance. Don't settle for the long distance now that you know, because I didn't know. Okay? Sacrificing the short distance, right? Because I guess it brings in blurriness for other people too. So it's normal for my eyes to be more blurry. But when you're in a situation like me, you don't make people's eyes more blurry. The doctor should have known that. The doctor should have insisted that I got the better cataract. Out of all the cataracts, I should have gotten the better cataract. If he was trying to save my fucking eyesight, he should have made sure I got the better fucking cataract lens. And not only that, he should be on it with this, oh my God, your medicine right before fucking eye surgery was mixed up. Well, you know what? You better make sure it's in my file. Yeah. Am I ever going to get any justice? Fuck no. Because I'm just one big walking fucking science experiment. Just like with my grandson, you know? We want to test him as to, why he got the seizure. Okay, yeah. No, you want to use the taxpayers' dollars to waste so that you can teach your students how to intubate and, in the event that they would have put him on a ventilator, right? The reason he was so dopey and all that shit, even the doctor said that he had too much medication in terms of those 3 little pills. It was too much, right? And obviously there was a side effect from that, right? And just whatever, right? Like, no difference. No difference. I don't even think it's right to be having students, coming into more contact with these students because of Amari. It's like when we went and we did the first follow-up to find out why he was the way he was, and they did their series of blood tests to rule out chromosome defects and all this other crap. And that one fucking student came in, that Chinese male student came in and was poking him in, like poking 25 fucking times, trying to get the vein. I'm freaking out, and then he goes and he's poking, and I'm like, no, fuck, you need to stop this shit because, right? Just, it's easy right there, right? And, oh no, the doctor says I have to get the blood. The doctor says I have to get the blood. Yeah, okay. No, it's more like torture. Literally, torture. There's a fine line in there. That nurse said, oh, I think he's puking because that's my mistake. The tube was too big and I put it too far down in his throat. That's probably why he's fucking hacking. Because they scratched up his throat with their fucking whatever tube that they were putting down his throat. More than once. I heard her say it, people. And she was probably a student. And that's why the doctor calls in all the nurses, because they're students. And they're teaching the students how to build that heart of steel, to be able to stay focused on the job as your heart is racing, because you're under an emergency. It takes you. It's a series of events that gives you the ability to be able to push past the fear and control your own fucking heart rate as you're dealing with the crises. Yeah. Because all those nurses that were going in that room weren't doing anything special other than hovering around. And yeah, maybe took on a role to practice under an emergency situation, and that's why that nurse made a mistake. And Amari came home hacking because his throat's itchy because of the tube that was too big that went down his throat and made him puke. To which provoked, well, we might put him on a ventilator now because he continues to puke. Yeah, okay, whatever. Just saying. Same situation. Who cares if we fuck up your eye, because your eye's never going to get better anyway. So we're going to do this, and who cares if the medication's backwards, as long as we get paid. You know, if you do the medication backwards, we get to find out what actually happened after the fact. Well, now you know. I can't fucking see shit. And the way things are going, I don't expect it to get better. I'd like to think it would, but honestly, I don't think it's going to get better. I don't. 6 weeks will go by, and who knows what I'm going to be like. Who freaking knows? But it won't matter, because I was already losing my eyesight. So forget about justice. If you're thinking about you deserve any kind of fucking justice. You can be shut up with energy weapons in your fucking yard even though you got fucking video of it. They're not going to acknowledge that. Nope. They'll just say it was some bug that flew by. Yeah, okay. No, that was an energy weapon I got fucking documented. Alright. These houses, they're rigged before you even move in. Trust me. They rigged the fucking yards. Money. Okay, so I don't know. I'm doing what I can do. I can't clear out things until I get other things situated or put away. Pepper is one of them. I already did the mustard seeds. They're put away, but not the pepper. So I'm going to do the pepper today. And I'm not going to do the canning of the peaches just yet, because there's no priority on that, but I needed jars because I got to jar up the comfrey and the oregano, and I need jars for the peaches, so I just thought to hell with it. But of course, you know, I'm like kicking myself in the ass because I'm bringing up more stuff that's on my floor, or maybe sitting up on a bucket over there, which is going to be, well, you were supposed to clear that out. Yeah, but I'm not quite done yet, so, like, whatever, right? There's only so much I can do in a damn day. It's enough I'm already being sabotaged with my fucking eyes and everything else that's going on in my life. Like, seriously, you don't even know. Yeah. But yeah, Yeah, you got eye issues. Go for the better lens. Don't waste your time on these mediocre lenses. Especially if you have glaucoma. Or any kind of eyesight that does that kind of shit. Like, you know, like kills off your peripheral vision. Because just because it might be working for you now, I'll give it 10 years. Because the glaucoma is still doing its nasties. Right? Yeah. Is that still recording? Who knows? Hold on. Okay, let's try this again. Sure. Anyway, it's been a long day. I was gonna have Andre talk with me in regards to the accusations of the troll. I don't finish this video. I'm gonna just talk a few things here and then, I don't know, it's getting late. I don't know, maybe I'll get it onto the computer, and it's so hard for me to see. My eye is starting to get all wigged out here. Currently, these ones are working currently on the computer, but my eye is just like kind of burning right now. So much so that I'm using a little aloe vera again. I'm just very irritated right now. Okay, so let's just get on with it. Alright, so Andre went with Amari to Tisha's house for the week, right? But before we get into that, I just want to remind people that in Canada, we've got millions, we're talking millions here, okay, of immigrants that are coming from all over the place that don't speak English. Can't read English, can't speak English. They come from backward countries where, you know, they shit out in the fucking fields because they don't have functioning washrooms. And when they do, they have communal washrooms with a big hole in the ground. I'm just saying, okay? Not everybody comes here rich. Now, mind you, a lot of them do because the government likes that, right? Because, you know, with rich people comes corruption, and with corruption comes the underground economy, which props up the government. Alright? I'm just saying. Okay? But besides that point, not everybody is corrupt who has money. But all in all, the majority of people that come are just your average immigrant. More, you know, many from India, right? You know, it depends. If they want maids, they get them from Sudan, Darfur, Tanzania, places like that. And then those immigrants come in as refugees and basically are put out in the berry fields to pick blueberries and all that crap in the summertime, as the mothers, mainly, become maids. That's what happens, people. I know, because I lived at Gateway Place, and I worked with those families that came in from Africa, lived, you know, government put them in the poorest, the poor freaking apartment building in all of Surrey, right? And those mothers were janitorial maids, if not maids. And many of them came and couldn't speak English. Some people never learn to read and write English, although they can learn at some point to speak it to some degree. Go into Walmart, go into any business, and what you're going to find is Immigrant after 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 immigrant, mainly brown immigrants. You're not going to find that many black people working in these environments in terms of like major food store chains and those kind of places, right? Pharmacies or whatever, right? And you're not going to find that many Caucasians because it's being overrun and taken over by immigrants, to whom, if you're walking down the aisle and you need some help and you ask somebody that's stocking a shelf or sweeping a floor or doing something like that, where this might be in terms of, I'm looking for this product, do you know where it might be in this store? Chances are you're going to get, they don't speak English. They don't understand what you're saying. They just go back and do their work. I guess they're bums. Yeah, they must be bums. I'm just saying. I'm wondering if this coughing is a result of these tubes that they were putting down Amari's throat. Or whatever they were doing. I don't know. Anyway, made it itchy, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. If you're going to try and suggest that my grandson is going to grow up to be a bum because he can't read and write very well, well then you might as well call every immigrant that comes into this country, and we're talking millions of them that can't speak English, read English, write English, never mind get proficient at any of those things, bums. Oh, but they're working at Walmart sweeping the floor. Oh, but they're working at fucking Save-On Foods stocking the shelves. Oh, they're working at McDonald's handing over fucking French fries. Yeah, okay. Whatever. I'm just saying. Now, in terms of Andre and what Andre did when he was at Tisha's house. Now, the first thing that when Andre got home and after the kerfuffle was over with, you know what he said to me, people? He said, Nana, what are you doing? I hear you. He said, Nana, I know how you feel. Oh my God, fucking mosquitoes, man. I just heard it. Oh, fuck. It's mosquito season. Oh. Why do they fly around your ear and shit? Oh. Gotta catch the bastard. Okay, the doors have been open. Anyway. I said, what do you mean? You know how I feel, Andre? Where did that come from? He goes, oh, my feet are so sore. They've been so sore. I said, oh, your feet have been sore. Why? He says, because I've been on my feet for hours and hours and hours at Tisha's house. I know how you feel now, Nana, when you say, because he says, I know what you mean by being on your feet all day now because, I'm on my feet. 12 hours, 16 hours a day sometimes, people. If not a little longer, right? And I get, and I tell Andre, like, Nana's tired. I've been on my feet for like 14 hours, Andre. What do you know? Oh my God, I'm getting bit by fucking mosquitoes, man. Oh, I can feel it. So anyway, so he came home and he said, yeah, I know how you feel now, Nana. I know what you mean by your feet being sore. I said, why? He goes, because that's all I was doing was chasing after a ShaMay, and Tisha would tell me to go into the bedroom and pick up all the toys, and, I was doing this and doing that, and I'm telling you, people, he was the one that was giving Amari his medicine. Tisha said not once did she ever have to ask or anything. He was, like, on the clock with it, knowing, he knows exactly where, because I put lines there, right, so he, she says not once did she ever have to give Amari his medicine the whole time he was there. Didn't have to ask Andre to do it, nothing, right? And she had him on a bunk bed sleeping with Amari on the bottom and Andre on top. And I guess Amari was having like little nightmares or something. He'd wake up crying and fussing, and I'm telling you, there's mosquito flying around. And it woke up Andre. He said, I got up real fast, flew down the stairs, and consoled Amari while Tisha's sleeping in her bedroom with Alex and the kids. And he did that a couple of times. Calmed Amari down, and Amari calmed down. Then he climbed back up on the bunk and went back to sleep. He wasn't asked to do that. He wasn't told to do that. Right? He didn't go off and get Tisha and say, oh, what do we know? No, he calmed him down. Amari went back to sleep. Andre seen that, and then he went back up in the bunk and he went back to sleep himself. And then he told Tisha what happened in the morning. Oh, but for whatever reason, Tisha seems to think he's going to grow up to be a bum. You know what Andre said today? He said that Tisha's starting to act like Tamika. I said, that was his words. He said, Tisha's starting to act like Tamika. You have to remember, this bitch Tamika Johnson-Dixon has been stalking my fucking yard ever since her brother got shot down in a fucking gas station and that bitch got his phone. Yeah. And she's still stalking. Coming in with her fake user accounts. Right? With her little stupid comments. Right? Andre's on a program in terms of quote unquote his education, and he's actually very, very happy with it, and his mind is open to it, and he's eager to participate in it. Okay, so no matter what anybody's got to say, he's good. Right? What works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. Okay? What works for Andre might not work for somebody else. What works for somebody else might not work for Andre. Okay? And if Andre was that dysfunctional, people, well, I don't think Tisha would have said the things that she said. But you see, she didn't acknowledge. Oh yeah, no, she did. She acknowledged how well he did with the kids in general. That's the first thing. Everything she asked him to do, he did it without balking. Andre, go clean the bedroom up. The kids made a mess. Andre went in there and cleaned up the mess. And he did it more than once in a day. Okay, in terms of cleaning up after Kyrie and a little AMA. Okay? Right? And just go do this and do that. And he did it. Not to mention what he did without her having to even ask. And then how she rewarded him was screaming at him all the way home, right? Calling him a bum, or that he was going to grow up to be one, if he didn't go to school. And then when we got here, she threatened him. If you don't go to school, I'm going to have you taken away by social workers. Yeah? So now by this time he's crying. As Amari's screaming because of her screeching and arguing and getting loud and obnoxious. Yeah, okay. And then we wonder why maybe Amari had a seizure. I forgot about that shit. I mean, it was enough that he was at her house for the week. I was so concerned about that being a trigger. The point is she doesn't value the good in Andre. Because she's too busy power tripping and thinks she knows fucking everything. And she's got her own issues with her own kids. So she really needs to focus on that before she tries to railroad everybody else around her and do a Tamika. Cheers. Alright, so why did I turn on the camera? Oh yeah. This is with April. April, you're making me think too much here. I don't want to think. First of all, what you suggested in terms of the lawyer, this lawyer is at very arm's length. And it's not like I can go to her and say, yada, 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 can you help me? Because it just wouldn't work. Because I don't know. I think I caught that freaking mosquito. Yeah, I did, that little bastard. That's one of them. Ugh. I'm getting the bloody things biting me. Oh my Lord. That's what happens when you leave your door open. They come in at night especially, right? Okay, so she's looking at medical files to try and determine as to whether Amari was injured at the time of his birth, namely. Right? I gave her Andre's medical files as a comparison to, if you want to say, a drug baby compared to a baby, because Amari was not a drug baby. Okay? Ciera was the addict. Right? And yes, Ciera stabled out for 6 months with the methadone, but the methadone played a big role in terms of they had to wean him off with morphine off the methadone. Okay? And he was in the hospital for 2 weeks now. These guys in these hospitals, I'm telling you right now, they're fucking shady. Okay? They're shady. They really are shady, because if they want to keep you, they're going to keep you. I've noticed, okay, I'm pretty sure, I haven't been keeping track, per se, and writing things down, okay, but I'm thinking Amari had already 4 seizures. I'd have to go back into my videos, or go get a copy of his medical files, to which I'm not going to do that right now, right? The first one, this one that he just had was the 4th one, I'm pretty sure. Right? He had the one that was on the bed early in the morning. I put him to bed, like, you know, he was out here, whatever, and then I changed him, gave him some bottle of food, whatever, burped him, you know, talked to him, everything, and by 9 o'clock in the or maybe 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, I put him on the bed, and I came out here and I was doing dishes, going back and forth, checking on him. He was playing, he was happy, he was, you know, right? And then, you know, doing dishes, and then maybe 20 minutes later went to go check on him, and that's when he was going like this. And he was like, kind of like this on his side, going like this on the bed, and the bed was wet, so that means at some point he did puke, but in that situation, he was going like this. Okay? I think that was the first one. And then I remember the one, because you get traumatized with this stuff. You really do. And especially when the gang stalking kicks in. Right? It's not just simply the baby or the child has the seizure, but there's the aftermath of the gang stalking that results from it, people, which traumatizes you. And then I remember this one here, where I was in my sewing room, he was playing, you know, it was late, but he was being a little night owl. And then, you know, I was doing the video. I don't know, I turned off the video, was sitting there, he got quiet. I thought he fell asleep, but I heard the toy move. So I got up and I went to go look, and I seen his hand go like this, and I'm looking. I could see something was going on, and then I went to him, and that's when I realized that he was having something wrong with him. He wasn't doing this shit, that's for sure, but he had puked, and he was very lethargic. He looked at, oh yes, and there was another time when I was downstairs doing something, and Andre came down. I think that was the first one. He came down, and he told me that Amari had puked. So I came upstairs, and that's when I found him really lethargic. So 3 times he pukes, he becomes lethargic, basically, where the one time on the bed, he was doing this. Okay, so 4 times. So the first one was downstairs when I was down there grabbing something. He came down, he told me that Amari puked. I came upstairs. That turned out to be a seizure. Then the one on the bed, that was a seizure. Then the one on the couch, right? That wasn't, so that's 3. And then just the more recent one. So he's had 4. 4 in the last, what? It seems to go in 6-month cycles. Because the last one was in December, because the doctor said it was in December. And the one before that was in July. So we're running around every 5 to 6 months. because we're going into July. He had one last year in July. He's got one this year in July. And then he had one in December, and I don't remember. Okay. So, but what I'm noticing, though, is people, they control the sedation that he's under. If they want to keep him under, like when they had him, when the social workers were when I had that pissing contest with that freaking paramedic over ShaMay, right? And they had me there at the hospital, whatever, doing whatever, and they had him sedated for a very, very, very long time. And they did all their serious. That's when, and they used meningitis as the excuse in order to keep him. We're checking to see if he has meningitis. And that whole time that they were doing that, they kept him sedated. Literally, I'm telling you, they kept him sedated. Okay? Because they do their blood test, they do this, they do that, and who knows what they fucking did, okay? And then finally, over 24 hours and a bit, you know, right? They informed me that the social worker was trying to contact me and whatever and whatever and whatever. Okay. That was a long bout in terms of sedation. The other two times, no, he wasn't in the hospital for no more than a few hours, people. Not this time, but the last time he had a seizure, he was only there for 4, 5, 6 hours. He was hardly, because they didn't test him. They didn't test his blood. The nurse said, we're not testing his blood, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. So he came out of it very fast. This time, though, and even the doctor said, he got too many of these. Well, I don't know what the fuck they gave him, because he was saying Ativan. Maybe he was saying, this is lorazepam. This doctor did not say lorazepam. Did he say azepam? Maybe. But to me it sounded like Ativan. Now, I don't know my drugs. So where the fuck did Ativan come from? Outside of what that doctor told me. Either or. This one here that they gave to me to give to him, I looked up side effects. Could barely read it though, right? I'm going to have to try and print it out because it's, right? This shit can kill somebody. Death. Coma. No wonder why they were talking about putting him on a ventilator. Because that came out of nowhere. I looked at that social worker at the hospital. The hospitals, I said, ventilator? Why? You know, he's already had 3 of them. 2 of them he bounced back fast. He was home within a few hours. He wasn't even at the hospital for half a day. Less than half a day. Right? But the one time when they wanted to do their meningitis thing and they called social services on me, they fucking kept him, right? They kept him drugged up for a long fucking time. Yeah. And then this time was a long time because he wouldn't wake up, people. The doctor was shaking him. Amari! And hollering at the top of his lungs. Amari! Amari! Shaking him, moving, and I'm like, holy shit. I didn't say anything, though. What can I say? And he was out cold. Completely out cold. And the doctor said that was because he had too much for his size. 3 of them. And I'm pretty sure he was calling them Ativans. But I gave him this, which is lorazepam, which is for anxiety. And it takes 20 minutes to 30 minutes for it to kick in. Same thing with Ativan. Is for, I guess, anxiety. I don't know what the the side effects are for Ativan, but I did take the time to try and Google this one, right? And then talking coma and death, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, what are these, like, you don't even know people, right? If I would have known that, I don't know. And if I'm giving and the paramedics giving and they're giving at the fucking hospital and then they're talking ventilators, well, yeah, no wonder why. You guys are giving him too much of this shit. I don't know, people. And you know, you have to remember, I just had eye surgery. And like, they're fucking with my family. I'm telling you, they're fucking with my family. Okay? If you can't see the pattern, I can see it because I'm experiencing it. How the hell can you prescribe 3 boxes of medication and mix up 2 of them with the wrong fucking labels where you're supposed to take this one 4 times a day for 3 days and this one 4 times a day for 1 day, but you end up taking the 1 day one 4 times a day, 3 days in a row, and the one that you're supposed to be taking, 4 times a day for 3 days, you end up taking it on the day before surgery only once. Like, how the fuck does that work? And then your doctor acts like it's no big deal. He acts like it's no big deal, people. Well, you know what? If it was I don't know, I guess this stuff is not serious. Because if it was serious medication, this kind of shit, and they mixed it up with something else, oh well, sorry, they died. We tried to save them. We tried to put them on a fucking vent. We did the right thing. Okay. That's why when I go see this eye doctor, I'm going to damn well make sure that he's got it on my fucking file that my shit was mixed up by the pharmacy. And I'm going to let him know, people, that the next time he does any kind of eye surgery like he did on a person like me, with very few octave nerves, he better recommend the best cataract. Yeah. Because otherwise, he fucked over my eyesight, in my opinion. If you have all your octave nerves, then yeah, I suppose you can go with the cheap of the cheap when it comes to the cataract and take your risks with these little yellow spots forming after a while. Or you can go the middle of the road like I did and hope for the best and hope that you don't lose any more octave nerves, because if you lose too many, you're going to end up like me. And the cataract lens that I have in my eyes right now basically are a waste of money and a waste of time. I'm going to go check on Amari. Yeah. And then Amari? I mean, it's enough you did what you did with me. And then Amari. I swear that doctor called nurses. We need more nurses. No, people, they did not need that many fucking nurses in there, unless of course those were student nurses and they were there to learn what it meant to be like in a trauma ward. And give them practice. I do believe that. Yep. That's why that nurse spoke out and said, "Oh, I think it was me that made him puke because I used the wrong tube and it was too big and it went into his throat and I made him gag." That's what she said. I made him gag. That's something a student would say. To show the other students around. So what? Is that quality healthcare? I don't know. I might be going blind, but I'm not fucking deaf. Why do you need 10 people in the room? And we're talking a small room. It doesn't take 5 nurses to do the job of 1 or 2. Well, 6 nurses, really. Right? Think about it. Because they kept calling, "We need more nurses, we need more nurses." Whole bunch of people swarmed in there, and he's still calling for more fucking nurses. Yeah, okay. As the nurse is saying, I think it was me who made him puke, because the tube I used, the suction tube I used was too big for his throat, and I made him gag. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, just calm down. It was like they wanted a fucking reaction out of me or something. Like, seriously. And they weren't getting the reaction because I was just sitting there. You gotta have that heart of steel, people. Like, you really do, right? And then that fucking social worker came in and I think we're gonna be ventilating him. Putting him on a ventilator. Oh, okay. Why? What happened? Suddenly. All of a sudden. Anyway. So, April, even if I went to the lawyer with this information, it's not going to make a difference. Because there's really nothing that she could do with that at this point. Because we're in a web of, I don't know what. I've been in this web for a long time. It's like that pediatrician sitting in front of that screen drilling me as to what is the part of his brain that's been damaged. What's the medication he's on, even though I gave the pill bottles to the paramedics and they wrote it down, but they're trying to say they didn't get that information because it's with the paramedics and it wasn't transferred over to the emergency ward, which is a bunch of fucking crock. Okay, we know it's a crock. That's why they write it down so they can pass it to the doctor, right? And then, just out of the blue, drop the word something ShaMay Coke and then switch the subject. And I'm like, yeah, okay, be coy with me. Whatever you say, doctor. What is that? How many years ago was that? You want to blame Coke for the way Amari is? Yeah, okay. That's where the lawyer comes in. Now, whether the lawyer is in on the game and it was just putting their fishing net out on the internet to attract suckers like me so that they can cover up the dirt for the government and their employees, or whether this individual is a legitimate human being that actually cares about kids, because that's why she's not charging me a fee. Because if I went to her and I said, look, the pharmacy is fucking me around, switching over my medications, making it where it's dangerous, where I go for like serious eye surgery, and now I'm screwed, right? She's not going to help me with that because I'm not a kid, people. That's what she said. We do it for the kids because they can't, afford to pay, right? They're just kids. So at least Amari has a fighting chance. But I'll tell you, when I started out with this crap with Amari, and it was determined what was going on with Amari, I couldn't find no birth injury lawyer. It was all car accidents. So I find it kind of suspicious that 6 years later, 5 years later, or whatever it is, well, 4 years later, right, that there's a birth injury lawyer in the province of British Columbia, Canada, because 4 years ago I couldn't find not even one. So I'm just wondering if maybe it's an implant from the government to protect itself, because she could very well come back and say, no, I read the files and everything's okay. The doctor was fine, and yeah, it was all your daughter's fault. And what am I going to do? I'll go get a second opinion. That's what I'm going to do. Or if I get turned away again, then I'll just file it myself. And you know I'm going to be fucking gang stalked for it, people. You see, that's the thing. You know I'm going to be fucking gang stalked for it. You know I'm going to be sabotaged for it, right? You know they're going to use Amari as a pawn to what? Derail the process. Amari died. You can't take it to court now, Miss Chorney. He's dead. Didn't we hear that with Uncle John? Uncle John, 2017. Okay? The fucking judge tried to come back and say, well, you can't take it to court because Mr. Duncan is dead. I said, no, he's not. He's still alive. He didn't die until 2018. He tried to throw it out by saying John was dead. That's what he threw it out on in 2017. John didn't die until January of 2018. How about that? Do you see how they play dirty pool, people? All that has to happen is Amari to die. And they'll get away with what they've done to him. And maybe what they continue to do with him. Yeah, because I do believe that they control the sedation part of keeping him fucking sedated. Whether on purpose or whether by accident. The pediatrician tried to say it was an accident, that they gave him one pill too many. Well, I don't know how the hell that could happen. And yeah, adults take 1 milligram to 3 milligrams of this stuff. Amari had 3 milligrams. No wonder why he wouldn't wake up. No wonder why they wanted to put him on a ventilator. How about that? This is what you're making me think about, April. But if I go to the lawyer with it, then what's the lawyer going to say? Prove it! That's not what she's doing. She's looking to see if he was injured at the time of his birth. She's not there to protect him from these situations that occur. Right? And the way things are going, you know, I'm like, where did these, like, you know, like, why did this seizure all of a sudden came out of nowhere after 4 years of not having any? As everybody was, like I said, so fucking disappointed that he wasn't getting them and couldn't understand why he wasn't, because he had cerebral palsy and it was a given that he was going to get them, and for some magical reason he didn't. And then I'm thinking, because I'm looking for triggers, I'm looking for fucking triggers here, right? You know, I'm asking what would trigger this, you know, and blah and blah and blah and blah. And I'm like, okay, well, you obviously arguing and like loud kahuffle, like when we went out into the park, you know, for Leia May's birthday, not this July, but last July. And Tisha's brother carried him around the park, and he didn't really know Tisha's brother, and he ended up crying in his arms, brought him back, and that would have been enough stress to trigger the fucking seizure the next day and a half, right? It's the same thing with Tisha coming here. You know, it was enough that he was at Tisha's house for the week with all that activity, and clearly he was having little nightmares in the bed where Andre'd have to come down in the middle of the night and console him and, you know, make sure that he wasn't wrapped up in blankets. That's Andre said. That's what I was really concerned about. Nana, the fact that maybe he got blankets covered up on him or something. Tisha was nowhere to be found. That Andre did that. You tell me what kind of fucking bum does that? A 12-year-old one at that. Yeah, okay. And then she comes here with her fucking power trip and Tamika self. Yeah, okay. Making Amari scream at the top of his lungs before she goes raging out the fucking door. No wonder why he had a fucking seizure 2.5 days later. That's a trigger, people. But then it could be as simple, but it doesn't have to be anything. But that's not true, though, because they don't necessarily come back to back. In other words, the one that he had on the bed, there was nothing here to indicate. Even that night, just recently, he was fine. Andre and I were talking, and he was giggling, and everything was fine, and we just assumed he fell asleep, and he did. And then at some point, right, I told you I heard that noise. But the trauma happened on Thursday, right? So it's like it takes a day or 2 or 3 for whatever, right, for it to kick in. So what I'm trying to say is, when he had the one on the bed, and when he had that one on the couch at 6 in the morning, when I was doing the video in the sewing room, maybe, just maybe, because I'm not connecting the dots here, but I'm trying to, just maybe he had been at the children's hospital or someplace like that where you've got him going for x-rays, moving him, twisting him, and then right, which is painful for him. So much so that if he sees one of those fucking beds, he doesn't even want to go on it anymore, people. We've seen that with the feeding team. They can't blame me for that one. That's their fucking phobia that they created with him, because he's just a fucking pincushion to them. I'm telling you. But I'm not keeping track of everything to, like whatever, right? I'm busy. But of course the social workers don't seem to think so. I don't know what the fuck they think I do all damn day long. And that's harassment, what's going on with this shit. So every time Amari has a seizure, I guess I should be prepared to have fucking social workers stalk me now, right? Build their case, yeah? Well, they keep, yeah. Yeah, okay. Whatever. The lawyer can't protect me from that, and they sure in the hell can't protect Amari from that. No. Because that only came from 2 places. That paramedic that slammed down his fucking computer screen and said, no, you're not going to get a pissing contest with me. And I'm like, in my mind, yeah, okay, that's why you got attitude, buddy. Or my fucking raging daughter that's on a power trip threatening Andre that if he doesn't go to school, she's going to have him taken away from me, as Amari is screaming in the background because he's so frightened with that screeching that she was going on about. 1 or 2 places. That's why I said, go ahead, do what you want, Tisha. I raised 5 kids. Remember? You were the baby of the family, and you fucking sure do act like damn baby. When are you gonna grow up, baby of the family? There's a reason why they're called the baby of the family. I'm just saying. Right? So anyway, but yeah, like, there's triggers. And I'd have to, like, I don't know how I can piece it in with these visits, with these teams that manhandle him to the point where he doesn't even want to be on a fucking table with them. And that's another reason why they'd want to dope him up. I'm telling you, people, I know exactly what it is. They want this muscle relaxant to keep him droopy, nauseated, dizzy, not thinking straight, right? Drooling, maybe vomiting, maybe having more seizures, because the bigger he gets, the stronger he gets. And the stronger he gets, the harder it is going to be for them to manhandle him. And I told him that tonight when I was exercising with his legs, to which I'm now discovering he doesn't like it so much between putting his feet, between my breastbone as he does on my belly. On my belly. So I put his feet right here on my belly. And he pushing. Pushing. Because he's strong. Building strength. It's called, what is it called? Tension resistance. Right? They don't want him being able to push. They want him to lay there. So they can do what they want. And if they make a mistake, they will cover it up. That we know. Because I doubt that woman said it so that I could hear it. I think she was talking to the teacher and the rest of the students. And that's how I feel about ShaMay's dead body on that bed for 9 days. And I'm going to leave it on this one. Okay? Whoever the fuck wants to go to and be a nurse to dote after a dead body and pretend that their fucking thing is alive as they're putting on their embalming makeup and running their fucking solution through tubes that are coming up through the skin, through these little pads underneath this, and just the whole 9 sick yards. Just so they can learn to be a fucking nurse or an embalmer or whatever it is that they're doing. Because whatever they're doing is morbid. It's completely fucking morbid. And they had Amari looking like ShaMay. They put that blanket right up to his neck and he was on that bed with their blanket with just his face. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Here we go again. Because they want that loosh harvesting. They're terrorizing you so that they can control you. And I told him, you can't cover him up too much because he does overheat. And the last 2 times he's been in the hospital, for some strange reason, he gets a fever. He's got a fever. We got to give him Tylenol. And I'm like, well, where the hell are these fevers coming from? Because before all this happened, he was talking and playing and happy-go-lucky and nothing to indicate that he had fever. However, he can heat up if he's sick because he can't move around, right? So if he lays in one spot for too long, he can get warm. So that's why he always kicking off his blankets, right? But they got him all covered up. And I'm like, okay, well, it's either you got too many blankets on him and he's heating up that way, or maybe he's allergic to this stuff that you're giving him, okay? But they had him looking like ShaMay, people, with the blanket right up to here, with just his face laying on the bed. And I'm like, this is not deja vu. But when you come to me and you tell me you're going to put him on a ventilator, knowing what I know with all this shit that was going on with the virus, the lockdown, and all this other crap, what do you think's going through my mind? What do you think's going through my mind? And the bigger he gets, the only way they're going to be able to control him, I'm telling you right now, is if they sedate him. Yeah. So he's got a lifetime of them sedating him so that they can do what they want. And then say, we're doing it because we're trying to help him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You're trying to fucking help him. Yeah, okay. Talk about a life of misery. Serious. Yeah. So, the best that I can hope for is this lawyer will take on the case because she can read medical files and clearly see that Amari was injured at the time of his birth. It's not that hard to fucking figure it out. It's really not. He pooped inside of her from the stress of having lack of oxygen, people. Tisha confirmed to me her water broke. I'm going to end it on this one. Her water broke downstairs after they sent her home 2 times. And she was coming up the stairs with a towel between her legs. Tisha said she remembers because she tripped on the stairs. Because Tisha was behind her. She came up here, told me her water broke. I said, okay, go to the hospital. And Tisha and her went off to the hospital. I said, if you need me, you call me. Because I knew that fucking Julian and his stupid sister and whatever was going to be there. So I couldn't be there because I didn't want it to be any more stressful than it already was. And Tisha was there. And that hospital fucking dragged it out for fucking hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then finally Amari's heartbeat dropped and it never came back up. You see, that's the thing, people. It never fucking came back up. And by the time they booked in their emergency C-section and took him out, he had pooped in her fucking womb without any amniotic fluid in it. You do the fucking math on that one. And I don't even know how to read medical files. Well, 6 years later, you got some pediatrician dropping the word coke. As if. Yeah, okay, buddy boy. You know how many women in their lifetime does coke in their first trimester of their fucking pregnancy without them even realizing they're fucking pregnant? Like, what medical school did you go to, for crying out loud? Who are you working for? Are you working for the patient or are you working for the fucking government? Because to me, sounds like you're working for the fucking government. Being that I guess the government pays your paycheck, so you gotta be a fucking scoundrel in order to get that fucking paycheck. So if you're gonna be a fucking scoundrel, how the hell can you say that you're working for the patient and for the best interest of a child? You're not. You're too busy trying to cover the government's fucking ass. I suppose Eleanor Gilding's running that show too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What, should she take some of Uncle John's inheritance and fucking just spread it around the emergency ward there at the Ciera Memorial Hospital, knowing that it was just a matter of time before Amari came in and they can keep covering up her fucking ass? Yeah, okay. Because you know her story's going to get to the fucking courthouse sooner or later. It's been there. But these judges, they just, you know, they work for the government and Eleanor Gilding. Well, Mr. Duncan died. No, he's not, Your Honor. He's alive. No, he's not. He's dead. No, I can prove he died in January of 2018, motherfucker. Not in 2017. So why the fuck you throwing it out? Because they didn't have a leg to stand on, people. That's why. They like to take advantage of people. Poor people, that is.